attention that at 6 o'clock, we will start the city council meeting. That's slated to last us right up until 7 o'clock, when the town hall will commence on the biosolids. So if you're here just for the biosolids and you're not interested in anything else that's on the agenda for the city council to consider tonight, you could log off and come back on a couple of minutes before 7. We will start promptly at 7 with the town hall for the biosolids. But of course, you're all welcome to join us for the regular council meeting. It's chock-a-block full of interesting things. All right, helping Councilmember Carmody get her steps in.
Okay, I'm here.
All right. Grant, are you ready with the flag? And Brianna, I'm assuming, is streaming at this point.
I am ready, sir.
Okay, and she says we're live. So let's put the flag up. I'll call the meeting of the Yelm City Council to order for the March 23rd, 2021 council meeting. And if you'll all join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Will the city clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember James Blair. Councilmember Molly Carmody.
Here.
Councilmember E.J. Curry.
Here.
Councilmember Tad Stillwell.
Here.
Councilmember Tracy Wood.
Here.
Councilmember Joe DePinto.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Kaminsky.
Here.
Mayor J.W. Foster.
Here. And also, council, be aware that Councilmember Blair has called in per protocol. He will not be able to attend tonight.
Move to excuse Council Blair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Councilmember Blair will be recorded as excused. Before we do the agenda approval, I would like to ask the council to add an agenda item tonight. And this would be a discussion for the council to give us direction on how to proceed with a replacement for Councilmember Stillwell, who still insists upon leaving us at this point. So with that, and that would be under new business. With that addition, is there any other additions to the agenda requested for tonight? Then with that addition, I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have our agenda for the evening. So now we get to that point. Lena, are you able to share your video, or would you prefer not to this evening? There you are. Hi. So folks, where we are right now is at that wonderful time of our council meetings where we get to celebrate some of our special students at Yelm High School. And the Rotary Club of Yelm partners with the city of Yelm and the Yelm Community School District High School to select a very special student who has demonstrated leadership and community service and all those things that go into being a great student. And they've chosen Lena Miskimans for that honor this year. And I want to bring to your attention that it was that our Public Works Director, Cody Colt, that name may seem familiar to you, Lena, as he was your 7th grade history teacher. And Mr. Colt believes that all students of the month really start with a good history teacher in 7th grade. So we appreciate your contribution to our community, Lena, and your contribution to Lena, Mr. Colt. I'm going to read what they wrote up for Lena, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this. So Lena Miskimans is another outstanding 2021 grad who makes Yelm High School proud. She balances her commitments well excelling in sports, leadership, National Honor Society, and she's an active member of her church and community. She's taken on the roles of basketball team captain and the greenhouse manager this year, as she also continues to be a leader in the classroom with a passion for helping other students. This passion, along with her outgoing personality, strong work ethic, and positivity, will suit her well in her chosen field of psychology as she pursues this career after graduation. So the Rotary Club of Yelm, Yelm High School, and the City of Yelm, and all of our business partners congratulate this exemplary grad. And we'll give Lena the obligatory virtual round of applause. I will show you the wonderful plaque that we'll have over at the high school for you, Lena. And please tell us that we spelled your name wrong. Or right, I mean. We got it right? After years of seeing Miskimen children in the school district, I think I finally got that down. Which one are you in order? Are you the last one?
I'm the last one.
Oh, very good. Well, along with that wonderful plaque and the accolades, know that you'll also receive a packet of things from business partners who wanted to support this program. So Ken McCulloch, American Family Insurance Agent, Masonry Cafe, Olympia Federal Savings gives you a nice certificate of deposit, I believe. Edward Jones, Pam Ferris also has something for you. Pizzeria La Gitana, the Shiplap Shop, Walmart, the Yelm Food Co-op, and Grocery Outlet. So thank you for all of that you do. Did you want to say anything tonight, Lena? Perhaps sing the school song? Anything? Sure.
I'm good, but thank you.
You're very welcome. I know you have a ton of stuff to do as a busy student, but if you'd like to stay on and watch the rest of the council meeting, you're very welcome to do so. Maybe in a few years, you'll come back and join the city council. All right.
Congratulations, Lena.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now, Grant, our next special presentation is from the AWC. Could you please elevate Mr. King to a panelist? And I know that our next presenter will give a good background on this program, but I do want to just introduce him in way of, this will be Peter King, the CEO of the Association of Washington Cities, who provides support for all 281 cities in the state of Washington and runs several of the programs that the city of Yelm participates in. And one of these programs they run is a program that helps elected officials like ourselves become better at our job. So with that, Mr. King has a special presentation tonight. Peter?
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, I appreciate the chance to be with you for a few minutes this evening. It probably goes without saying I'd rather have hopped in my car and driven out to Yelm and be with you at City Hall tonight. And I know we're all getting tired of Zoom, but we'll get through it. I am here to present an advanced certificate of municipal leadership to Councilmember DePinto. I do want to acknowledge before I get started that Councilmember Carmody has her certificate of municipal leadership, and Mayor Foster also has an advanced CML, which I think our record showed that was earned back in the summer of 2019. So Councilmember DePinto joins the group of those that have pursued this program. A little bit of background for those of you who may not know much about the program. It's a program that was started, and it offers mayors and council members from all of our 281 cities and towns across the state an opportunity for knowledge and skills to effectively operate within the law, to plan, to secure and manage funds, and foster community and staff relationships. The basic program was created back in 1997, so it's almost 25 years old now. The basic program requires elected officials to complete 30 credits of study. The advanced certificate, which we're talking about this evening, it was added later, and it requires an additional 30 credits. And that can be earned with AWC activities, other organization training, things like Municipal Research and Services Center, plus a community services component. So That is usually from council members and mayors that serve on other boards and commissions besides something in Yelm, for instance. And I know all of you do that. So over the years, about 1,100 elected officials have completed the basic program, and about 350 have achieved the advanced CML. So, on a normal year, there may be a dozen city officials statewide that achieve this. So congratulations to Councilmember DePinto. All elected officials in the state are automatically enrolled in the program. So if you sign up and participate in a webinar or go to a conference that's AWC sponsored, you're automatically enrolled, and any one of you can go in on our website and kind of check your progress toward those 30 credits. There are 4 core requirements and areas: roles, responsibilities, and legal requirements, which is pretty much a basic that you all know. Public sector resource management, so fiscal, finance, community planning and development, and it gets into land use, zoning, annexation, and then effective local leadership. So that's the networking, community outreach, and working with your community. So we continue to expand our online education. First we did because we know you all have busy schedules and travel is difficult, and then COVID hit and it really ramped up the need for us to put a lot of content on the website. So if you take a look at our website, there's just all sorts of different topics, subjects, content. If you have a particular interest or an area that you want to explore more, I'm sure that you can find it on the website. Last year at this time, we moved our annual conference to a totally virtual environment. So those of you that participated in that could pick up 10 credits. This year, again, we will be going to a virtual annual conference. We typically have our meeting in June, but we were going to be in Spokane, but because of the pandemic, we are going virtual again. So a lot of content on the website. I would encourage you to take a look at that. Last week, we had a session with our new Secretary of Health, looking at vaccine rollout. We'll be doing a number of topics on the American Rescue Plan, the recent federal program that was just approved. So there's lots of information that'll be available there. So the advanced certificate acknowledges the continued commitment to education and community service. So tonight I'm with you to acknowledge and to congratulate Councilmember DePinto for achieving the advanced certificate. On behalf of AWC President Sue Ing Moody, Mayor of Twisp, and the AWC Board of Directors, I extend my sincere congratulations to Councilmember DePinto for your achievement and your dedication to continued education on behalf of your community and the citizens of Yelm. So congratulations, Joe. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you, Peter, and Association of Washington Cities for having these trainings available to help council members and mayors like myself become better leaders and stewards of taxpayers' money. Normally we'd see each other during our weekly session meetings, but regardless, I appreciate seeing you here virtually, and thank you, Peter, again for the recognition.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, Peter, I would normally welcome you to stay for the rest of the meeting, and of course you are. Or you could, if you had driven down here, you could have taken advantage of one of our many fine restaurants or drinking halls. But I know that you've got a busy schedule as well, and I'm glad that you were able to save the drive time from having to come out here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the time to be with you, and I know you've got a busy agenda, so thanks very much.
Thank you for being here. All right. Get that done. So I want to move into the public comment portion of our meeting tonight. And again, I have to remind everybody, the way this goes is that if there's an item on the agenda, that's when we would accept public comment during that part of the meeting. If there's something that a citizen would like to address the council on that's not on the agenda, this would be the appropriate time to do that. And also keep in mind that we have a town hall tonight scheduled for 7 p.m. after the regular city council meeting, at which we will be doing a presentation on the bio dryer, and which will be creating the biosolids that I know a lot of people who are attending tonight wish to either address or at least gain information about. So we would accept comments and questions about the bio dryer at that time during the town hall, and now would not be the appropriate time to address the council on that. So again, The town hall will start at 7 p.m. about the bio dryer. But if there's anybody from the attendees who would like to address council tonight, I don't know, Grant, can you allow them all to talk? And you could, or you, if you know how to use the raise hand feature, I would take you in the order that I see you come up or hear you. I'm scanning my list. I see a blue hand up, but I don't see who. Oh, there it is. Rennie Storm would like to speak to council.
Yeah, real quick, JW, first of all, I want to thank you for your service as mayor. And you've helped me in the past in my continuing education, learning civics from the Center of Self-Governance to be a better PCO. And I do appreciate your assistance. To all the council members, thank you for your service and thank you for having me. I do have one question, and then I'll do the biosolids later, and that is the traffic. What is being done about the, I don't know where the cars come from, but they snake all the way from Twin Star down by the high school, all the way down to McKenna. And I scratch my head as to where all that traffic comes from. And is it hurting us or is it being looked at and helping us?
Well, I'll take a crack at that real quick. So yes and yes. Anybody who's lived here for more than a few years knows that traffic has increased as all roads lead through Yelm. And quite often now the roads are leading to Yelm and people are getting out of their car and they're taking advantage of our many fine shops and restaurants and the cinema and so forth. But we are the convergence of two major state highways, 510 and 507. And we're the only other north-south route besides I-5 on this side of the mountain. So if people need to get from Olympia over towards the east side of Pierce County or beyond, they need to come through 507. Everybody's aware of this. This is a major regional problem that the Department of Transportation and the legislature is actually looking at, doing some fixes, the 510 loop, of course, and then some roundabouts that will help congestion at the Five Corners and Vale Road, and then at the McKenna Y. All of those projects are in queue. And quite frankly, Rennie, we're not going to see a great deal of relief from the congestion until people learn to, change their driving habits, perhaps, or we see a major infrastructure project, or we all start driving flying cars. So that's it in a nutshell. But you will be seeing more on this at future council meetings as we look at our transportation plan and get some of these projects literally on the road.
Well, then the adjunct to that is the Thurston Planning Council looking at something like this. And of course, I think you're involved in that. And I would like to be, I'm going to introduce myself to the council as well, because I find it intriguing. But would that be something on their plate?
It absolutely is. They're involved in all of our regional transportation projects, the Thurston Regional Planning Council, of which I am the chair. And you're welcome to attend those meetings and ask similar questions. If you go to the TRPC website, you can sign up for those meetings. They're the first Friday of every month, starting at 8:30. And you can also look at previous agendas and the many plans that are listed on there that gives you an idea of what the regional transportation plan looks like.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to ask you to put your hand down. Oh, I can do that. Look at that, I did that.
I don't know how to do that.
I got her. Is there anybody else from the attendees who would like to address council tonight on anything that's not on the agenda or not part of the town hall? Okay. Yeah, Councilmember DePino.
Thank you, Mayor. Just point of order, James Blair is now here. I want to make sure he gets marked down as attending this meeting.
Great, thank you for bringing that to our attention. The city clerk will get that on there. Councilmember Blair, were you able to hear you tonight?
Yep, I'm still driving, so I'm just listening right now.
You're still being driven by somebody down to your event. Thank you. We will ask for your vote if you're able to attend the entire presentation on an action item. Then you should vote. If you're unable to attend that portion and can't hear it or can't ask questions, then we'll consider you absent for that portion and take the vote without you. That okay?
That works.
Okay. All right, then we will move on past the public comment period at this time, and we will go to the consent agenda, which is the minutes and the February financials. Without any questions about that, you could move that forward as a motion in a second.
This is Molly. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Terry, by Councilmember Kaminsky. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. We have our consent agenda. I will put the new business. I didn't say which business it would be. We'll do the new business that I'd asked about the council for approval of on the agenda. I just want to bring to your attention that we will have to start a process by which to replace and appoint someone to the position that Councilmember Stillwell is leaving. We would like a consensus or a vote from the council tonight to move forward with receiving applications for this, if this is what the council would like to do. As a matter of background, you know that you have 90 days within which to appoint that position. If you don't, the county commissioners could use any process they would like to appoint someone to that position. In the other options that are available to you, you actually could, as a council, appoint anybody. Any one of you could make a motion to appoint so-and-so to the council. If it gained a second and a majority vote, that person would take their seat immediately as that appointed position, and it would fill out the rest of the term till November. Then when whomever is elected to that position, they would file in May, of course, they would take that seat for the rest of the term in 2021 and then the 4-year term following that. The other more standard technique that you've used is you've accepted applications from people who are interested, and then you've vetted those applications, interviewed those persons, and then taken a vote on someone to fill that seat. Unless there's any other way that you would like to do this, what the administration is looking for is a go-ahead from you to do an advertisement that would solicit applications. And also I would suggest that you encourage the people who had previously submitted applications to resubmit a letter of interest in being considered as well. So I'll open this up for discussion and a suggestion from council.
I think James has his hand raised.
We'll go to Councilmember DePino and then Councilmember Blair.
I'll yield to Blair. He had his hand raised.
Councilmember Blair.
I have a quick question. I'm kind of conflicted with this one, given that it's an election year on this position. Is it absolutely necessary? I don't remember what the time frame is. Does this position have to be filled prior to the election?
Yeah, by state law, we have a council of 7, and the state law demands that we fill that position within 90 days. Or the county commissioners would appoint somebody to fill that position. Okay.
I just want to put this out there. The conflict I'm having is I feel like we're going to give someone an unfair advantage in the election, and it's tough for me. You know what I mean? But law, we have to fill it. We have to fill it. I get it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember DePino?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to see all those people that reached out originally who applied for last application for the seat that Councilmember Curry filled. If we could have all those, and I would appreciate, at least, I don't know about the rest of the council, but I would appreciate if each of those people would get an email from the city saying the application process is open. If you're interested, please refill it out, or your intent to apply again.
Is the council interested? Go ahead, Councilmember DePino, or Councilmember Kaminsky, excuse me.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think we should give you permission to go ahead and make an advertisement for the position and let people apply who want to. Just the normal way. I think we should move forward and do that.
Okay, would a 2-week window for applications be consistent with your previous work? And would that be okay for you at this time?
Councilmember Carmody has her hand up.
Thank you. Councilmember Carmody?
Yeah, thanks. Oh, sorry, let me do my video here. I'm kind of with Blair on this one. So would the person that's appointed, would they only serve, would they have to declare for Tad's seat in May? Would they be automatically appointed for the entire 4 years?
No. No, they have the choice. They would be an appointed position to fill until November election is certified. They would not have to file for the position nor run for the permanent position if they didn't choose to. They may, or they may decide not to. But anybody, that seat would still be open for all persons who are interested to file for, just like the other 3 positions that are open this year.
Okay, so if we appointed them before the May week to declare, then they could either declare or not. Is that correct?
Either way, yes.
Okay, okay. But and then they would run, they would hold that spot until November.
That's right.
And right, okay. And then if they ended up winning the election, then they would just continue on.
They would, if someone else were elected, that person would be seated for the short term, the rest of November and December, as soon as the election was certified, and that appointed person would no longer be in that seat.
Right. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Sure.
I'm okay with everybody with us doing the application process, and, encouraging people to apply. So unless there's any objections, I would like to move that we authorize the mayor and Yelm City administration to start advertising this position and accepting applications.
Second.
Seconded by Curry. Further discussion. Councilmember DePinto.
Thank you, Mayor. One point for the council members that were concerned about like an unfair advantage, let's say going into filing week. We do have the time to make the decision after filing week too. So, I mean, it would give us a little more leeway on if that was a major concern for members of the council, whether that person is going to file or if that person isn't going to file. There's, that's completely up to us on how we want to fill that and decide on it. I'm fine either way. I see benefits of it being chosen immediately so they could start serving that role. I see advantages of waiting after filing week to, I kind of like that. I would like to see someone run for the open seat on their own merits rather than getting an appointed seat and having that little bit of recognition and a little bit of a head start against the opponents. But just my thoughts.
I'll give you something to think about there then. You could advertise for, take the applications in, and then take some considerable time if you'd like to. And I'm going to bring this back again to you at the April 6th study session, because you still have other decisions to make too about how you, first, the administration, of course, will vet all of the applications to make sure that they're eligible for this position, which would be registered voter within the city limits of Yelm for 1 year at their time of appointment. And then you would have to decide how you would, the timeline that you would like to use to vet the applications, interview the applicants, and then make your decision. So at the April 6th study session, you could make all of those decisions or come to some consensus on how to guide yourselves through the rest of the process. But tonight, really, we're just asking for the permission from council to advertise for the open spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Molly's motion reflects.
Right. I think that we should maybe cross the decision bridge when we get to it. you know,
Mhm.
whether or not we decide to appoint somebody immediately or until after the declaration week. We can, I mean, we have time to make that decision. So, but in the meantime, let's start collecting applications.
Any other
I agree with
discussion?
that.
That was I agree from James Blair, I believe, but let's make that more formal. You have a motion and a second to go ahead and start advertising for and receiving applications for the soon to be open position. And I'm sorry, Councilmember Stillwell, we're talking about you like you're still here. So without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, then we'll take that action and get that advertisement out and start gaining applications for the soon to be open position, which would be open actually April 1st. Thank you. We'll now go on to the regular new business 6A, which is the request to circulate a petition for annexation. And our very excellent Tammy Merriman, senior planner, will present.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is test. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And I'm not freezing. My video is working because I'm here in City Hall. So thank you very much. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. Good evening, everyone. Before you this evening is an annexation request from a local resident who has 10 acres at the end of Vancell Road. And if I might have permission to share my screen, I will bring the map up so that we can all see, and I can point because I tend to point when I talk. So if we're all able to see the map, the parcel that has been requested to be annexed in is a 10-acre parcel. It's at the very end of Vancell Road. We have Timberline Estates here, and I believe this is Autumn Hill Estates on this side. As part of the annexation request, the applicants also asked to change the zoning. When this property is annexed into the city, it's going to be zoned R4. This is a pre-zoning that's been done through the comprehensive plan and joint plan with Thurston County. And so this is planned to come in as R4, just the same as the property surrounding it. The applicant has asked that when it comes in that it be zoned R6, which is a higher density up to 6 units per acre. Just a really brief overview of the process to annex property in, the first thing that happens is the property owner requests the council to consider their annexation. The council at this time would be able to accept the annexation, reject it, or geographically change or modify the annexation areas. And then after the council accepts or if the council accepts the request, then the applicant would go back and make sure that they have sufficient signatures to move forward with the annexation process. And then a public hearing would be held. If the annexation is approved, the annexation goes before the Thurston County Boundary Review Board. And they would look at the application materials, which include findings of consistency with our comp plan and the joint plan with Thurston County. And they could also invoke jurisdiction and hold a public hearing on this annexation process. So that's just the brief overview of the process. Getting into the actual application, like I said, the 10 acres is here at the end of Vancell Road. It's pre-zoned to be R4, which is up to 4 units per acre. So when it develops, it could be up to 40 dwelling units. If the increase in density was changed, it could be up to 60 units. The application materials did not include any water rights claim for the property, and the property is not part of a sewer LID. In 2000, by resolution 472, the city council created a policy which was adopted into the 2009 water comprehensive plan that supported the policy that until our water rights are on board and we have adequate water rights to serve the city limits, that we would not allow annexation into the city unless they brought water rights sufficient to serve the property at its full development, or when the property was part of a sewer LID. If you remember the sewer LID, property owners were able to pre-purchase some sewer connections at a reduced rate. And then that policy in the water system plan actually comes from the base policy in the city's comprehensive plan that states that to defer annexation of unincorporated lands until this property can be served by water and sewer, meaning having adequate water rights to serve this property as well as our city limits. In doing the analysis of this request, staff has found that the proposed annexation doesn't meet the policies of the adopted water system plan or the comprehensive plan. Our current water rights is not adequate to serve all of the city limits and this property at this time until our new water rights are brought on board. Additionally, the annexation, part of annexation review is to make sure that we have logical boundaries. And right now this peninsula here is sticking kind of down with the county properties around it. So in order to annex in, you want to make sure that you have a logical boundary, whether that be just bring it down to the end over to Morris Road. So that's a nice square end, or even going as drastic as bringing it all the way over and making a nice square bottom. I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities to look at logical boundaries, but at this time it just extends this one and my new word, excavate the actual current illogical boundary. So with that, when the Department of Ecology approves our new water rights, which we are anticipating that to be this year, then it would make sense to not only annex this property in, but also look at enlarging that boundary. The last thing on the annexation request is, as I stated earlier, the property is pre-zoned through the comprehensive plan and the joint plan with Thurston County. In order to change this zoning in any way and planning ahead for the future, it would require a comprehensive plan amendment. We're already in this year's amendment, so a change in zoning for future unincorporated or UGA land would be done through the 2022 comprehensive plan update. So with that analysis, and as proposed, the staff finds that it's not consistent with the water system plan policies and the comprehensive plan policies. And we would recommend that the city council reject the request and circulate this annexation petition at this time.
Thank you, Tammy. We'll ask for questions from council first, and then I do know that we have some members from the request in the audience tonight. We'll see if they have anything to add to your discussion. But Councilmember Carmody, then Blair.
Thank you. So Tammy, I can't see from the map, but I think having just looked at the boundary for the urban growth area today, oddly enough, I do believe this is within the urban growth area boundary. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So what were you saying about just including, like, drawing that straight line all the way over all the way over to the left? Would that be including that's within the UGA as well, right?
Correct.
Now, do we have to have all of the residents? Do we have to have their permission to do that? Or would that just, would they automatically be annexed if we just decided to include that entire section?
Under the petition form of annexation, the property owner would be required to get signatures from property owners within the annexation area that equals 60% of the assessed value of the property.
So 60% of those other people would have to sign the petition.
Signatures that equal 60% of the assessed value. For example, 2 large pieces might equal more than 60% of the assessed value, even if you have many other parcels that are smaller.
Okay. So, but we don't need anybody else's signature just to approve this one blue parcel. Is that correct?
Yes, that one property owner would equal 100% of the assessed value of that area.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's all I have.
Councilmember Blair. Then I see you, Terry.
Molly just asked what I was going to, so take me out.
Okay. Councilmember Kaminsky?
I just wanted, just for clarity, to make sure, we did take away that phase 3 of the bypass, correct? It's not going anywhere near this property anymore.
Well,
I
we
bel-
had- go ahead, Tammy. Sorry.
Well, I believe it's actually the Y2 corridor is down below, and it was part of the original environmental impact statement for the transportation, but at this time it's not funded.
Okay, and just for clarity, you can't annex anything until all of the city properties have access to water. So does that mean every development and every plat that's out there has to be like satisfied and on board before you can even annex, even if you don't plan to use or develop right away? Is that right? I want to understand.
I don't think what you said is exactly correct. I believe the policy is to make sure that we have adequate water rights on the books to be able to serve the city limits and its urban growth area. Right now, we don't have that number. When our water rights come on board, then we can look. Water rights, though, are first come, first served. So we wouldn't have to reserve only the city limits and then bring in property.
So if this person had water rights, or we had water rights and this person wanted to develop before somebody else did, there's no queue where you have to be in line for it.
Correct.
And you don't have to satisfy everybody else first before you can come in. And then are you able to annex, even if you say, I don't want to develop, I just want to annex? You still cannot do that as per the comp plan.
The water system plan policy and the comprehensive policy state differently at this time.
Okay, and then just one last clarification. On your little notes on page 2, it says, the applicant had not provided any water right claim for the property, nor is the property not part of the sewer local improvement district. So there's a double negative there. Is that right?
There is a double negative, and it was my fault. I apologize for that, but no, it is not in a sewer LID at this time.
So even though the sewers are actually there, he would have to start the process for that connection.
At the time of development, they would extend water and sewer lines from where they end right now to the southern property line.
Okay, thank you. That's my question.
Councilmember DePino, then Curry.
Thank you, Mayor. I met with the gentleman here who owns this property, and from my understanding, first of all, this is a good idea to do this. One, we're in a housing crisis right now, and not just in Yelm, but in Thurston County or in the state. There's a limited supply of housing. This gentleman's offering to build lots of houses for us, and for the residents here in Yelm, brand new houses. I personally would like to see that. I'm a fan of single houses rather than giant apartments. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I've lived in an apartment myself, but personally, I would like to see that. This gentleman can't just start up and get going with everything. He has to do a lot of steps before he makes this even buildable. He has to clear the land. He's got to go through all the permitting processes beyond the annexation process. For me, it's a pretty easy decision to support this. The gentleman wants to better the land, better the property, provide housing for our community. I think it's a win-win situation.
Councilmember Curry.
I have to take my mask off because I can't talk. Now, Tammy, this is a request to circulate a petition, correct? And when that petition is filled out, if he gets the required amount of assessed value, the 60% of the assessed value, it comes back, then the council makes the decision on it. Is that correct?
If you allow the applicant to circulate the petition, whether you keep this parcel or extend the boundaries, they would bring back the required signatures, and then it would go before you as council through a public hearing.
Okay.
For approval.
That's somewhat clarifying. I agree with Joe. We need housing. Someone's willing to do it and step up. I agree with you, Joe.
Councilmember Hill. Councilmember Stillwell.
Thank you, Mayor. I just remember in the past that we have denied other annexations because of the water issue. I'm just kind of curious what the ramifications of the city would be if we allow this annexation with the same situation of no water. If that could, this may be something we have to run past the attorney, but is that going to open us up for litigation?
I'm sure Tammy doesn't want to answer that as staff. And we didn't invite our legal person to be with us tonight. And I do see your hand, James. But yeah, what it does do is it opens up an opportunity for other people to approach the council with similar requests. And then it creates that slippery slope that the council would have to decide upon each one of these requests, and then you put yourself in that situation of I do it for one, or I do it for the other, or I do it for all. And that's why staff has made the recommendation that you act on previous council's work to create a water plan and to create a comprehensive plan and work within those. And then keep in mind also that the Boundary Review Board will also weigh this against our comp plan and our water plan. So it creates a difficulty for them as well. Let me go on to Councilmember Tad. Was that sufficient? All right. So I think I went to I lost track. So I'll go with Councilmember Carmody, then DePinto, then Blair.
Thank you. So there's a couple of different things that that we really need to consider. So if this guy gets approved with the understanding that we don't have water rights yet, and he would be almost, I mean, if there are other applicants, he would end up being last in line after those current applicants. There is this whole slippery slope thing, but by the same token, he's in the urban growth area. He has the right to be annexed. I mean, we can't just say, no, you can't be annexed because we're not even sure about water rights. I mean, I think this is really tough. I think that personally, we should allow him to annex. And then just if he wants to get water rights, he's going to have to stand in line with everybody else. And if people after him come in after and say, well, Shorno got in, why can't we have all these, why can't we get in? Why can't we get in and get those water rights? Well, then they're going to have to stand in line too. It's first come, first serve as far as water rights go. If they get denied, they get denied. That's not our fault. We can say, look, we annexed you into the city with the understanding that you wouldn't never, that was your judgment call, knowing that you wouldn't necessarily get those water rights. If you want to stand in line with everybody else, go for it. If not, you took your chances. If you want to if somebody wanted to unannex after that, I suppose that they could probably put for that and then work through water rights with Thurston County. I don't see a problem with this annexation. He's within the UGA. If our policy is what it is, guys, we can change our own policies. There are policies. We have the right to change them. So I am going to recommend that we do vote to annex.
Okay, Councilmember DePinto, then Blair, then Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. And yeah, I agree again. This gentleman is willing, obviously, to take some of this risk by petitioning the council for annexation. He is, I don't want to speak for him, and I'm sure he'll speak here shortly after us, but he obviously assumes some amount of risk in this. And it's not like we haven't done this recently. We just annexed someone outside of our city limits. It was inside our UGA here. It was either early last year or late the year before, 2019 or 2020. on Grove Road, if you all remember. So we do this from time to time. If they're good players, you know, they come in willingly, they want to join the city, they want to vote in our city elections, they want to make it a voice and all, they want to have a voice in on our city, besides the price they pay at the sales tax for those that live outside the city limits. You know, this is a great way for them to do that. And we're going to get some tax value out of it, some property value, some property taxes out of it. You want to grow our services, you don't want to pay for all this stuff without raising taxes. Growth is also of the economy and of residential is how you do that. So again, I would urge a yes vote on this.
Councilmember Blair, then Wood, then Stillwell, then Kaminsky, then Curry.
Well, I think my question kind of got hit with everyone else. But what I was going to ask was, even if he's annexed, without the water rights, he wouldn't be able to start building yet anyway. So that part of it's going to have to wait. So all this is about is bringing that property into city limits, correct? At this point, and the zoning.
So Tammy, clarify for them at this point what exactly they're voting on tonight and what the next step would be after, if this, let's just say this were approved by council tonight, what the prospective developer would need to do to get approval from the city.
If council moves forward with the request or to allow him to move forward with the annexation process, he would come back with this same layout unless you modify the layout, and he would be providing the required amount of signatures equaling 60% or more of the assessed value. City council would hold a public hearing. I would hope that in the public hearing that the council could provide the findings on how this does meet the water system plan and the comp plan policies, so that when it does go before the boundary review board, that there's adequate support for them to be able to review and approve the process as well.
So as you'll see.
Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted me to talk then about what it would take for him to develop, or just moving forward with the annexation?
No, that's exactly what I wanted you to clarify, to make sure they understood what they would need to do to finish the annexation request. So we're going to go to, is that sufficient, James, for right now?
Got it.
Okay. We'll go to Councilmember Wood, Stillwell, Kaminsky, and Curry. And then I will bring to your attention, council, that we have run up against a time where we said we'd start our town hall. We have not finished the rest of the business. Another action that the council could consider would be to table this to a future full council meeting, the first one in April, where you could continue gaining information and continue the discussion at that point. So we can accept a motion to do that, or we could continue the discussion and postpone the start of the town hall meeting. Councilmember Wood.
A couple of things. First, the comparison to the property that was annexed in earlier, or actually at the end of last year. The big difference in there, that property already has existing city utilities. So that was more or less just a boundary adjustment more than anything. Secondly, what I'm curious about is the here, first come, first serve on the water rights. So what that means to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what that means to me is right now, being we have no water rights that we can positively say are, well, we can speculate, but we cannot say we have these water rights until they are in fact in our possession. So with that being said, I'm curious if there is a waiting list. Is anybody, and first come, first serve to me means that, you know, once we get our water rights, whoever shows up at the door first is the first one who's going to be served. Or is it a matter of that we have an existing waiting list for developers with property inside the existing boundaries of the city that are waiting to develop their property, but they can't because we don't have the water to provide them?
The water, Tracy, I believe your question, to be able to receive the water connection is paid at building permit issuance. So when a housing development is finished and a builder comes in and pulls a building permit for a single family home, that is when that water connection is dedicated for that one piece of property. The same goes for commercial, as they might come in and have a development review approval, but they're not assured that water right until such time as they pay the water connection fee and with the building permit. We don't sell connections before development. They have to, it comes as needed. So there's not a list of people waiting. There's not, and you can't pre-buy. It's when the development is there and when the impact occurs.
Okay, so if one of these properties in the city wanted to develop right now, they could build their development, and at which point the development was ready to go online, they would come to the city and say, we're ready to join the system and go through the process at that point?
Yes, for residential subdivisions, you have the preliminary subdivision, which is a review of our water rights. And we can say that we anticipate water rights come in the future. When they come in for a final subdivision to create the parcels and before the houses are built, we do a more in-depth review to make sure that we are going to have adequate water in the next couple of years as that development builds out. They're not assured the actual water right until they pay for their building permit.
But it sounds to me like it's still based on a speculation of, after the, on the second round, they submit their plans and we look at what they're, and we speculate. It sounds like we speculate whether or not we're going to get these water rights. Is that, I mean, am I missing something here?
Well, no, at this time, we anticipate that we will have the water rights. That's why just recently we've begun looking at preliminary subdivisions within the city. We have recommended denial of that kind of development up until our water rights was submitted in September. It's the level of review and knowing when the impact is going to occur. When a subdivision is complete, we know the impact is going to occur immediately after that subdivision is approved. A preliminary subdivision is good for 5 years. So it may be 4 or 5 years before they even break ground to do the development. So there's kind of 3 steps of that review. The overall, knowing that they may build in the near future, the final subdivision, we know it's coming in the immediate future, and then the time they actually pay for their water connection.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Council, I'm going to butt in here and make a suggestion, because by the number of questions, the depth of discussion, the breadth of discussion that this topic has engendered, I don't believe we're going to be able to come to a conclusion at this meeting that would satisfy everybody. And we still haven't had an opportunity to hear from the prospective annexee. Probably the best thing the council could consider would be to move further education on this topic to the study session, which we can make room for on this April 6th, and then bring this up as another action item on the first regular council meeting on the 13th. That's something for you to consider. The other option is to just plow along. We still have another action item that we have to get to that is time sensitive. And then we have that town hall that's pending. Just based on what I said, I saw Councilmember DePinto's hand go up. I'll recognize him. And then based on that, we'll go back to the queue.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to address that, your suggestion. I would urge the council to finish this decision for this landowner so we can have some assurance so we can actually start to get going, because this process is already long enough as it is. By the time we talk about it in our study session, by the time we have to vote it on in our first meeting of next month, it's going to be already 3 weeks at that point. I would like to see it. And then plus we still have to do the public process. I thought we were making some good progress here, getting some good feedback from different council members, their suggestions. I would like to see this conversation continue.
There is an opinion. If council, I'll just keep on going then with the queue that I have for discussion. I make apologies to our attendees who are here to attend the town hall meeting on the bio dryer process. Please have some patience with us while we try to finish up these action items, and we'll look at scheduling a little better next time. However, council does have that option of tabling or moving this to another meeting still. Councilmember Stillwell?
Thank you, Mayor. I would, I know that we're close to, or hopefully close to getting our water rights. I really would urge tabling this and not denying it. I think it's a great thing. I think Glenn is a great guy and he's going to do a great job and he's invested in the city. But I think it makes a lot of sense to table it in hopes that we get these dang water rights sooner than later, and you can continue the discussions going forward. I think that you do set a really interesting precedent with the other areas in the UGA. Without water rights, this could be a real slippery slope. And I hopefully it's resolved, like I said, sooner than later.
Councilmember Kaminsky?
Oh, finally, thank you. I just wanted to say a few quick things. I want to throw.
Councilmember Kaminsky, you accidentally got muted. That wasn't your fault, sorry. You'll need to unmute.
Thank you. You're always doing something to me, Mayor Foster. Okay, now I'm going to throw out the need for urgent housing because there are already literally hundreds of homes way closer to being developed and available to the public than this property. Number two, I think the big elephant in the room here is that we all personally know and love the applicant. He's an awesome person. We love and respect him, and we want to help him. I think that is really, really true. But my question is, can we just throw out a comprehensive plan? Molly says, yes, we can change it. Isn't there a process we would have to do in order to break our own rules to make this happen? That's my question.
The simple answer is yes, there is quite a process that you would have to go through. It's doable, but you would have to go through a process to amend your or do a waiver to those rules. And it's a time consumptive process, but yes, it can be done. Councilmember Curry, I think, was next.
Is there a motion on the floor?
There is not.
I thought Molly made a motion.
She did not.
No, I didn't, not yet.
Oh, okay. I'll wait.
Councilmember Carmody.
So I think that 3 weeks is not a long time to wait. It's enough time for us to really figure out our options, learn our options, learn what's legal, what's not legal. You know, decide if we want to change our own rules. Like Terry says, you know, everybody loves Mr. Shorno, but he also needs to understand that government takes time and government needs to do the right thing in the right way. We can't just run around making decisions one way or another. I mean, I have no problem annexing today, but if it would make everybody else happy, I have no problem also waiting and figuring out the best way and the right way to do this. I would move that we continue this to the study session and that we all get a chance to ask the questions that we really have to ask at the study session with no limited time. And then we, you know, and then we continue it on to the further council meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Kaminsky. Further discussion on the motion. Councilmember Pinto.
I would urge the council not to support this, and I'll make another amendment or another motion to actually approve this. But first of all, could we actually hear, I mean, it's been us talking back and forth. Could we actually hear from the property owner first? Is that possible right now?
It wouldn't follow the protocol that we have a motion on the floor before council with a second and council's discussion. And so the council really should act on their motion, and then based on that, we could solicit input from the attendees.
Very well. Well, with that, then I would urge the council to vote no on this vote till we actually hear from Mr. Shorno, which I believe we will right after if we vote this down. And then at that point, if we want to vote to delay this, you know, I'll go with what the majority wants here, but I would like to hear what Mr. Shorno has to say. So I would urge a no vote.
Any further discussion on the motion before you?
Hello? Can you
Yes,
see my hand? Sorry.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, I would like to address that. Mr. Shorno will have every opportunity to talk to us at the April 6th study session. You know, I don't know any developer on the face of God's green earth that's going to break ground in 2 weeks. You know, whether or not we vote yes or no, that's not going to happen. You know, if it, you know, he can address us in April and talk to us in April and again, you know, get his options moving forward. If the way that we decide is to, you know, is to go forward with that. But I just don't think that, rushing this scenario is good for council. I don't think it's a good look. I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's a good solution. And Mr. Shorno will have every opportunity to address council at the study session at length. That's the point. I feel like right now we're being rushed. We're being asked to make the decision, you know, ad hominem. I don't think that's a good way to do it. You know, we can talk to him and, you know, really feel him out, figure out what he wants to do, what his timeline is. I urged that we vote yes on this motion.
Councilmember Blair.
Just kind of thinking about this, I agree. I feel kind of rushed on this. And honestly, I would like some time for us to talk about what exactly the policies are that are standing in the way and what we need to do to change them. Because if just annexing it and it's not immediately being developed, then that doesn't affect the water rights issue. And the water rights wouldn't become the issue until it was ready to be developed. So actually, I kind of want to put this off so we can have that conversation at the study session about what needs to be changed in order to make this all kosher.
Tammy, could you stop sharing your screen, please, so we can have a larger screen of the people on screen? We're still in further discussion mode. Councilmember DePino.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I urge the no vote so that we can actually hear from Mr. Shorno, who's waited here since 6 o'clock. And I know there's other panelists that want to also be involved and talk, but had he known that this wasn't going to be discussed, or had he known that he wouldn't been afforded an opportunity to speak on this, he would have spoken at the very beginning of this meeting. I'd urge a no vote just so we can hear him speak.
Is there more discussion on the motion before the council to table this annexation proposal to the April 6th study session? Seeing no further discussion, we'll follow our policy and a protocol for good government, and we'll ask for a roll call vote of the council members present. So on the motion before you, how do you vote, Councilmember Blair?
I vote yes, and I just want to be clear, it's not I want to hear it from him, but I don't want this decision to go the wrong way. So I hope we talk more about this later on, and it goes more in depth so we can actually figure out everything and be ready to roll.
Council, I'll remind you that protocol states that we would have our discussion about why we're going to vote a certain way during the discussion period. And during the roll call vote, we would ask simply for you to make your yes or no vote or abstention on the motion before you.
Could you restate the motion, please?
The motion is to table the annexation discussion to the April 6th study session and beyond as necessary for council's needs to gather more information.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carmody, how do you vote?
Aye. And despite what Mayor Foster says about protocol, I'm still going to say that I look forward to hearing Mr. Shorno at the April 6th study session in person.
As do I.
Good idea.
Councilmember Curry.
I'm voting nay, and I'm looking forward to hearing Mr. Shorno at our study session also. But I think he should have been allowed to speak tonight.
Councilmember Stillwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Wood.
Aye.
And Councilmember DePinto.
No,
But that was a nay.
nay.
Okay, the motion to table the,
Point of order. Councilmember Kaminsky hasn't voted.
Terry, I don't know what it is. You and I
I'm-
go back
Ready to
so,
take it personally.
we go back so far. How is it that I do this to you all the time? I'm gonna move you. I want you to sit at the front next time, okay? On the motion before the council, how do you vote?
I vote aye to table for now.
My apologies, council, for missing Councilmember Kaminsky. The motion passes to table with sincere apologies to those who took the time to attend the meeting tonight, and with thanks to staff for preparation of this, and looking forward to further discussion from staff and from the applicant. We will now close that issue and move on to our next agenda item.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Tammy. We now go to new business 6B, which is the PSA for design engineering services. And I believe we have Pat Hughes to present.
Yes, you do. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
That's great. Okay, well, good evening, Council and Mayor Foster. Before you is a professional services agreement with Parametrics Incorporated in the not to exceed amount of $223,470.50. This is for engineering design services for the 2021 water main improvements project. Now, just quickly, in the interest of time, as a brief background, the 2016 water system plan contains an annual capital improvement program, which is a list of water main improvement projects that are needed to increase the reliability and efficiency of the city's potable water distribution system. As annual projects are developed, that list is reviewed in consultation with our water operations staff and our consulting engineer, and of course, budget constraints. To determine the next segments of improvements to schedule. These projects are typically designed to complete the missing links in the water system, replace existing asbestos cement water mains, upgrade existing water mains to accommodate increased fire flows. As you know, the 2019 project is currently under construction, which will be completed in late April. There was no 2020 project. The 21, if I may, I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. Whoop, I think I have the wrong. Can you see that okay? Can you see my map okay? Okay. So the 2021 water main improvement project will include approximately 6,300 linear feet of new 10-inch and 12-inch water main. It'll be designed for 3 general areas in the city. The segments are selected for the 21 design are listed in the scope of work in Exhibit A that's attached to your PSA in your packet. There are also, and these are also shown on the map that I've included on the screen here. As you can see, the planned improvements are concentrated really in kind of 3 general areas, with the first being in the west portion of the downtown area along Solberg, Longmire, and a short segment along Yelm Avenue. The second area will provide a missing link along South First Street, which is 507, and a small segment along the north end of Mill Road. It's labeled number 36 on the map. And then there's an area over on the northeast part of town, which will extend the existing main on Wilkinson Road across the power canal to provide a second critical connection to our water system in North Yelm. So again, this map is included in your packet. So in order to prepare the professional services agreement, the city requested and has received a scope of work and a design fee estimate from Parametrics for completion of the engineering design services for the proposed 2021 water main improvements. It's desired to begin the design of the water main improvements as soon as possible with completion of bid documents by January 22. And we anticipate that public bids will be opened in March 22 and construction planned to begin in April of 22. Should be noted that the cost for construction management services is not included in this agreement. A separate agreement and proposal will be requested for construction management services after the design is complete and the final scope of construction has been better defined. This is typical. This is a standard City of Yelm professional services agreement, the format of which has been reviewed by the city attorney. The funds for this water main design are included in the 2021 Water Capital Improvement Fund budget. And so staff is recommending your approval to authorize Mayor Foster to sign the professional service agreement with Parametrics in the not to exceed amount of $223,470.50 for design engineering services for the 2021 water main improvements project. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you, Pat. Any questions from council? Seeing none, another great, very explanatory presentation by Mr. Hughes. We would look for a motion from council on this.
So moved.
As Pat did read it in its entirety, Councilmember Carmody has moved approval of the recommendation by staff.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Kaminsky. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 And any opposed? We have the PSA signed. Very good. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
And once again, I would just want to convey the kudos that we got from citizens on the first phase of this project on how great the construction crew did in the work and working with the neighbors that this affected. I see Councilmember Carty has her hand up.
Is it possible we could put the reports off to the study session and go right to the town meeting so the people that are waiting we can get going?
Great minds think alike. Unless City Administrator Graham has any imperative updates, I will just say that per the email that you should have received or will receive when you look for it, we will be returning to a combination of in-person meetings as of the April 6th meeting. So if you are comfortable, do attend at the council's chambers here at City Hall. If you're uncomfortable with that congregate setting, then you can still Zoom in. All members of the community and staff will be able to Zoom in. And our staff has done a great job of being able to accommodate an in-person hybrid type meeting. So with that, with no objection to deferring reports to the next meeting or sending them out in written form, I'd look for a motion to adjourn, at which point we would then immediately go into the town hall meeting.
I move we adjourn. Councilmember Wood.
Second, Councilmember Carmody.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. This ends the regular city council meeting. We will now stretch if we need to, and we will move into the town hall meeting. Thank you again, people from the public. I moved my screen, so I didn't see that. What? Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Grab back. Bree